All right. Just going live here while I'm working. Just kind of hanging out, seeing how things go. Anybody that feels like just bullshitting, oh, cursing, sorry, TikTok, I apologize. Feel free to join. Just hang out for a little while. I'll move this up here so we can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. I'm essentially just testing my new setup. TikTok was kind enough to bless me with live studio. So I am giving it a shot, seeing how it goes. Anybody feel free to join, chat with me. We'll talk a little bit. I am also currently working on Heritage, book 2. Kind of getting some advice, if you will, from some of the other people. Let's see spice from combines stylistic thing. But you have. Hey, Juliet, how you doing? So the difference with live studio, I don't know if you can tell. I have a microphone here, so my quality is a little bit better. It gives me a little bit more control. I've got all these little features in here that are a little bit more simple to move with. Like, for example, just to give an example, I can get rid of the promo pick. I can throw up the 2 readers that I'm going to be reading tonight nice and quickly. It's kind of all at my disposal. I can also bring up, as I said, I'm working on Heritage, so if I want to take my webcam here and kind of shrink me down, make me nice and small, I can kind of give that image there, get rid of the promo pick, throw myself up here, and now I can show you me working on Heritage, which is kind of nice. So this will come in handy when, and this is really what I was looking forward to, is when I go live for my editing. It gives me a little bit more control. I can kind of sit up here at the top and give you, what the edits look like, kind of show you everything that I'm working on. If I don't want to show you that, I think I have Armitage as well. Let me shrink that back down to size. Get rid of this here. So the goal here, I've got Armitage as well, as you can see. Just kind of bring this up here so you can kind of see what I'm working on. Switch the colors. Yeah, it's just a nice feature. Having live studio gives me a little bit more control, gives me a little bit better audio than just working on that. Plus, I have my fan running now. It gets really hot in my office, and the fan isn't really disrupting anything. Plus, if I wanted to, I could kind of play some of my music in the background. I don't know if you can kind of hear that. It might be a little bit too overbearing, but also I don't want to, have any kind of promotion from any other band that would get me into trouble. So I'll just turn it off for now. But yeah, this gives me a little bit extra to work with. Let me shrink this down a little bit. I don't want to make it too small. But yeah, that should be good enough right there. Just kind of take up the window. Plus, on top of that, I can move, my own little window around to. Yeah, I don't want to get bananas. I just got live studio. I don't really need to get banned from it right away. Oh man. But yeah, as I said, let me just throw Heritage back up here. I am working on Heritage. I added a little bit of spice to it, so that was kind of neat, you know. Um, I've got my chapter 1, which I was really excited about. That came together pretty nicely. But then I also have chapter 2, which I'm kind of still in the process of working on. Um, I'm not quite sure where I want to go. I had this conversation, but I'm not. Yeah, this little ending conversation where he's talking about, she's kind of feeling a sort of way from the events of book 1, and she met up with a friend from book 1, and they're just kind of talking at this diner, and you know, kind of going over a little bit about where he's been at, where she's been at, and how he invited their other friends, Anna, her best friend, and Josh, who Anna is dating, is Devin's best friend. So he invited them down to have kind of like a little get-together dinner, and this is all just kind of setting up because I wanted it to seem like you're kind of in the real world, but yeah, I'm not sure how this conversation's going. He kind of asked her out to dinner, and he's like, I was thinking we go to the Tombs, which is a restaurant in DC, but I might rename that just to get away from any kind of copyright issues. She thinks he's asking him out on a date, but he's like, yeah, I'm more like a reunion. You look like you could use to pick me up, and I was going to surprise you, but I invited Josh and Anna down. Josh and Anna are staying at my place for the weekend. I thought you could use some good news. And while that's nice, I'm not sure that I like the direction it's going. So I'm just taking a break. I took a step back, and I'm kind of proceeding with some other chapters before I do that, because the next chapters I knew would switch point of view. So chapter 3 goes into a new point of view, and this is from Rylos' perspective. Rylos was always kind of a character in book 1, but never really had his own point of view. He's going to have a little bit more of a presence in this book. So I wrote kind of like a fight scene. It's the first fight scene I've ever really, committed to. So that'll be kind of fun. I was getting some feedback in the Discord chats. I don't know who was part of the Discord chats for that, but yeah, this is really just kind of intended to be less of a fight scene and more of kind of a transitional thing, an interaction between two of the characters. Described in book 1 is his friend Kalen, Rylos' friend Kalen. He kind of has this faith in his friend that he's not entirely corrupted, and so the fight scene's kind of between the two of them. But it's less of a fight, and while there is some exploration into the unique types of weapons there are and the kind of magic system that there is, it's not a deep dive into it. It's more about Rylos and Kalen's conflict and how, you got this right here, so this is how you would have it, brother. If you're not lost to madness, then answer me. Still got some work to do on that one, but it's going to be a relatively short chapter. And chapter 4 I just started is where I added some measure of spice. It's not much, and I wrote it on my phone last night. It's yeah, there's not much to it. I won't show that here on TikTok because I don't know what their rules are. Oh, nice. I'm curious, how far into book 1 are you? Because I don't want to spoil anything. I'll go back up to chapter 1 because that has no characters from book 1 into it. It's a setup for, and it's got some like little nuance, but it almost seems like a totally different story, not connected to the book at all, but it actually does play its part. So my book is actually not available yet. Juliet is one of my ARC readers. I'm very appreciative for all my ARC readers, and I was very limited to who I sent it out to. I only sent out about 30 ARCs, and I tried on Booksprout. So Booksprout has a campaign running right now that I limited that to 20, but I've got a few people that have grabbed it so far, but I'm kind of iffy on that. I like it to be a little bit more personal, email back and forth kind of thing. So yeah, AD, I don't know if you are on Booksprout at all. If you felt like grabbing that campaign, by all means, go for it. The ARC is up there. If you do want a copy, I'm more than happy to send it to the people that have been supporting me. So just let me know, and we can always do that. Yeah. Oh, hi, Joanna. I don't think I know you, and I don't know what those little symbols are. So Booksprout is a good tool for if you want to get ARC readers. Basically, you just upload your PDF, your EPUB, your Mobi. If you don't know how to format or anything like that, what I did, Booksprout will actually just let you upload a PDF and convert them into EPUB and Mobi. So since I already had a template relatively, oh, they're hard hands. Just sending love. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm on live studio, so it's not really showing up like entirely like it would. I've got a chat off here at the end, but just showed up as like those little square boxes kind of thing. Kind of weird. Um, but yeah, so Booksprout, you can upload your PDF. Like I said, I had a template that I made for 6x9 format. If you want to download it from my website for Microsoft Word, I printed that out as PDF and then used Booksprout to convert it into EPUB and Mobi. It'll let you download that EPUB. I sent it to Kindle, and let's see if I can show like a little demonstration of what that looks like. And it held up pretty good. So let's see. Yeah, I've got Armitage right here, and I don't know how well that's it's probably not visible at all. But yeah, I mean it shows up pretty good. It doesn't keep necessarily everything. Wonder if I can turn down the brightness on this, and maybe that'll make it a little bit better. Maybe no. Webcam doesn't like it, but I mean it shows up pretty good in there. It's formatted pretty well. The EPUB and stuff keeps the big thing for me was I actually have some images in some chapters, and I wanted to make sure that the images carried over. Like little things like line spacers, like for a page break or a scene break, I do like these little line spacers. And I also have image. There's one where they're talking about this amulet with this unique design. It's like this crescent moon design. And you know what? Actually, I can probably toss that image up here. Let's now that I'm on live studio, I've got so much more at my disposal. So let's see if I can bring this image up here in just a nice fancy way. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh my god, that showed up huge. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Let's drag this image down below the webcam at least. And yeah, oh my god, that's huge. Yeah, so anyways, that's the image that I showed of this amulet. It's really cheesy, and I'm hoping I've actually reached out to a few people on Fiverr to see if they couldn't design me just a nice vector image that's a little bit more believable as a necklace. This is this section at the top here is supposed to close off, and kind of where it clasps, and it's just supposed to be the image for that. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that some of those images carried over, and they did. Plus, I also have some scenes where I wanted the text to show a different way. Like there's mirror writing, like they're like handwriting within the steam on a mirror. And I wanted that to show, because I know Kindle and stuff will change the font, and I didn't want the font to be changed for those sections. So the best way I could think to do it is to just, make a picture of it and drop it in there. Also, there's one scene where, since it's somebody writing to her from the other side, the text comes through the mirror backwards, and that was really difficult to display. So that was the first thing that I wanted to show. And actually, I can bring up Armitage here and kind of show you what that looks like. So let me just go to my navigation and find some of these locations. I'll have to switch modes to the white mode so it shows up. Chapter 14, as I was saying, she gets a message on her screen, and you can see that text right there. I wanted it to show up backwards. It's handwriting on a mirror, so you can see she spotted the writing scrawled in the mirror, and I wanted it backwards. And I didn't want Kindle or anything like that to show, so it's a transparent background. So if I go black, I mean, it's a transparent background, and hopefully will show up okay once it's properly formatted. But then same thing at the end of this chapter. Same thing. There's the necklace. I wanted this to show in the book. And so that was the big thing when I printed this down as PDF. I wanted to make sure that all these images carried over to the ebook and Mobi format, and they did. So that was good for me to see. And yeah, so Booksprout allowed me to do all of that stuff, and then you can start your campaign, you can choose your date, you can, elect when all of this stuff is going to happen. And then it just sends it off to readers, and it kind of does its follow-up to make sure that they review based on the time frame that I set. For me, it's nice and long. The campaign went from October 19th, so just a couple days ago, and ends on December 7th, because that's the length of time that they recommended, was about a 2-month length of time. And then from there, I said that you don't have to get your reviews up until like May, which is when I'm going to be following up with all the people. Essentially, I have followed up with a few because I did get my book on Goodreads, so I followed up with a few people. Say, hey, if you wanted to review it early, by all means, go ahead. But for others, I am just gonna, once I get the actual pre-order up on Amazon, I'll do that. What made me choose Booksprout over BookFunnel? I saw your question came in. I didn't want to jump in. But what made me choose Booksprout over BookFunnel was just curiosity. Also, when I did go into BookFunnel, I noticed that they had like paid subscription plans, and Booksprouts was just you pay as somebody grabs your book. So if nobody grabs my book, I don't pay. And I set it to 20 people, and it's not very much either. It's like 99 cents or something like that, or $1.99 for every person that grabs your book. But I did set up a free alternative to BookFunnel for anybody that is interested. Is Prolific Works. It works in a very similar fashion as a means of distributing and collecting a distro of emails, although I don't think that BookFunnel actually does the follow-ups. I ended up not using it. I just wanted to keep it a little bit more personal, and just kind of send the emails out to people and collect the distro that way, since I was limiting it to such a small number. But yeah, it's just kind of the decision that I made. I was looking around. I looked at Book Sirens. There was some giveaway one too that I cannot remember the name of, that I might do once the book is released, because they expect you to send paperback copies, like a giveaway site, 20 paperback copies to your readers. So I may do that once the book is released. But yeah, for now, I just wanted a nice limited number. I don't need anything too intense. As far as reviews, I'm hoping that when the book releases, it'll get some reviews. ARCs are nice, but I've also heard some negative side effects of that, where like you'll send out a bunch of ARCs and only a handful of people actually review it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's that on that subject. I know that there's quite a bit that I can kind of cover on a few things. So if anybody has any questions to ask, I'll hand over whatever little bit of knowledge I have. Also, this is a test stream too for anybody that didn't catch my video. I am also streaming on YouTube Live, so that's another benefit of having TikTok's Live Studio, is it allows me. I'm using a program called OBS, and I'm funneling my entire input from OBS out to TikTok's Live Studio, and from OBS I'm also streaming to YouTube Live. And the good thing about that is it allows me to save my YouTube Live videos. So for instance, when I do my reading tonight for both Jasmine Wallace and K.R. Solberg, as I said, let me throw up this promo image again and get rid of Armitage. So yeah, guys, tonight when I read for October 26th, geez, I moved everything, didn't I? For October 26th for this reading, it'll save it to TikTok Live, and I've got the decent microphone quality now, which is nice. And I'll be able to section out the video and or even just embed the entire live into the page where they're at. I'm wondering if I can actually show you guys this. Let's do this real quick. For anybody that hasn't gone to the website yet, I'm going to do a quick window capture. There we go. I'll kind of make this a little bit more like that. So this is what my website looks like. Oops. this is what my website looks like. And as you can see at the top here, I've got this author live reading. And every day, so today I just opened it up. You know, you've got your steps on if you want to do it. I've got a little calendar here that only shows the current month, but I am a little bit further along. I'm actually all the way booked up till Christmas even. So that's really exciting. And I've still got more that I need to schedule out. I do a preliminary read through to make sure that what they've sent me will not get me banned off TikTok or anything like that. But then further than that, you can go to the these these previous readings, and that'll take you to the page. And this is essentially what it looks like. I kind of do this back and forth on every page, and each one has a clickable link that's got, you know, whatever synopsis or blurb the author chooses to send me off to the side. And then, you know, you can click on the links and it'll take you to where the book is for sale, which is really nice. Or if you wanted to go back, like, you know, I'm using Michael as an example. Oh, Jasmine, here, you know what, Jasmine, since you're here and I am talking about this, I've already got your page up here. It's the same thing. So I've got Remnant and Demon Choice. As you can see, Remnant is not quite out yet. So I did put the date that it is coming, but you can still view Kara Solberg's website, and same with Jasmine Wallace. You can view the website she gave me, which is her link tree, and you can go do all that, as well as, if you like the reading tonight, you can go find Demon's Choice on Amazon. So this is kind of what it will look like, and I'm thinking at the bottom of this, I will take the YouTube live recording. If I go to YouTube right now, it'll probably tell me that I'm live. Yeah, I'm live right now. Look at that. It's still giving me preparing notes for audiobook. I need to update that. But yeah, so I'll be able to take the live that I do tonight and you know, embed it into my website and allow it to do that way. So we're kind of branching out. We're, you know, reaching out to as many people as we can with this, and yeah. So that's kind of how that goes. And, you know, AD, I told you earlier about the template that I had. This is the template. You can just click it right here and download it to your own PC. If you go to your PC, let's see if I get back to this. Get rid of the website here. If you want to, you can go to New, and you can load it into, I think it's under Documents. It'll be under Documents. It'll say Custom Office Templates. I can look at that real quick just to make sure I'm giving you the correct information. Yeah, under Documents on your PC, Custom Office Templates, you just save this format right there. You'll open it up and it will already be formatted. It'll look exactly like this with the drop caps and everything. You can keep what you want or delete what you want. It's just a basic sample and a quick instruction on, you know, how it works. But if you download that and you use it and you print that out, you know, as a PDF, I mean, you just go to your print settings. It'll print it out in the size that you want as your PDF, as your preview shows. You've got your gutters, as you can see, left and right, just like a book would have. Print that out as a PDF, and then you can go to either like convertio.com, I think it is. Let me bring this back up. Or you can just allow Booksprout if that's what you're using. Yeah, convertio.co. You choose your file, choose your PDF. You know, whatever your PDF would be. Like, for instance, I've got my Armitage Arc PDF, and you can just convert it to a Mobi or an EPUB or, you know, whatever format you want to do. And that'll convert that for you. And that's what I did. I did check on Booksprout to make sure it was okay as well. But convertio.co, that's a nice, useful tool. And for anybody that is interested, let me get this window capture down here. Within Armitage, as I said, I made my own title page using some of these little images and stuff. And I did put on my website, I'll go back to the website here, GIMP is a completely free tool. It's basically like Photoshop. It differs from Canva in the sense that Canva actually has some preloaded images and stuff like that, whereas GIMP entirely relies on, if you want to use a picture like I did in Armitage, if you wanted to use, like, you know, for instance, this little this little moon here, or like this is my page separator here that I just put up here. If you want to use either of those, you just have to go to Google, find the images, find something stock free, and then just kind of modify it. This, I just found a crescent moon image and kind of took it in Photoshop and took pieces of it and broke it apart and moved them around to make it look like the moon was breaking. You could do the same thing in GIMP. You could just find a crescent moon image, load the image in there, remove the background, make it black and white, take pieces of it, or like cut it apart and kind of shift it around to make it look like it's breaking apart. All stuff like that. So if that's a tool you want to learn, it's basically a free version of Photoshop, though it's not quite as powerful. You get, for simple stuff like this, all of the same features are there. It just takes a minute to learn, and there's YouTube videos aplenty to learn GIMP. I spent years working on GIMP before I decided to commit to Photoshop, just to kind of expand my capabilities, which is where I went into to make my cover for my book. So I plan on expanding this writing tools section to give writers a little bit more, just in case you're curious, some of the things that I use. I'm going to add Obsidian up there. Obsidian for me has been fun to kind of explore. For a plotter, I think it would be really nice if you haven't used it. But yeah, GIMP is, I kind of forgot about it as well, but it's like that memory in the back of your head that just is constantly there. It's it's just something that won't go away. But ooh, Demon's Choice will be free on Halloween. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat. I apologize about that. Jasmine, if you want to make your own website, it is not difficult. If anybody's curious, I mean, how many people are curious at all about creating your own website? If so, I can get in here. Oh, Curve. Curve is another good one. I do like Curve. I haven't used that in a while, though, just ever since I got Photoshop, basically. All right. Here's what we'll do. If you are curious on making a website, domain.google.com. Or is it domains? I think it's domains.google.com. Yeah. Will take you to Google's thing. However, they are currently being there's a merger going on for Squarespace, and that will be taking over. I just bought my Atlas Creed author on here. You can get a new domain from Squarespace, so I can't really help out here, but I will say that atlascreedauthor.com costs me $12 a year, so $1 a month as a subscription, and that keeps it. I did try atlascreed.com. It didn't really work out. I figured the author at the end of it, kind of, yeah. But for a hosting site, if that's what you're looking for, Google has Google Sites. That's what I built my website out of. And if you go to domains.google.com, I don't know where you bought your domains from, but I can go into my domain here, and my service is a Google Sites website. I'm doing everything through there, and I can manage my website through there, which will just take me straight to that. I do have forms and stuff like that. Yeah, see, $12 plus tax is what it gave me. And then so I go to Google Sites, and this takes me straight to my site where I can modify all this stuff. And since I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and modify my one page writing tools, because I did want to put a divider in here. So let me just grab my divider, boop, and move this up between these two tools, just so it's nice clean, and then publish. It'll show me what I updated my writing tools. It'll show that I added this little divider right there. I'm going to go back just to make sure it is in proper style. It looks like it's in proper style. We'll just call it a day. But Google Sites, yeah, that's it. Now, depending on where you bought your domain from, the way you connect it to Google Sites may be different. But again, there's YouTube videos everywhere. But Google Sites is super simple to use. I did try on WordPress. I've got WordPress on my computer, and I'm still tinkering with it in the background because WordPress does give you a little bit more flexibility. I do coding, but I don't do front end, so I'm not familiar with HTML or CSS as much as I would like to be, but I'm kind of learning, and WordPress is my tool to do that. So if you guys have those domain names, you can link it to Google Sites. Google Sites is free. It hasn't cost me anything. And yeah, if you've got a Gmail account, it just links up with your Gmail account. It's super simple to do. And yeah, you get in here and it gives you all these tools. I know I'm a little restricted by the TikTok's video, whatever going on there, but yeah, I mean, and then you can get your previews on what it's going to look like on mobile or on desktop and so on and so forth. And you get your pages. For me, as you can see, I've already got up to December 7th set up. And so a little glimpse at that. December 14th is the next one I'm going to be working on, but one of the ones I am excited about, honestly, is I just set these two up. So we've got Amy Henriod and Cara Blaine on there coming up. But yeah, you can just hide the page from navigation. If I decided to show it in navigation, it would just become like a drop down, just like this. At the top, you would see author live reading with a little drop down bubble, and you can go to those dates. I opted out of that. Hey, Nander, how you doing? I opted out of that because I wanted to give it the control of just going to the author reading page and releasing them as I wanted to, so that way I could set everything up ahead of time. And then, I think I had these at like 14 size. Yeah, 14 size. So I can release them as I want to, but still set them up ahead of time without the fear of it, showing up on there. So sketch draft for your, what are you illustrating? But yeah, so sorry, I have ADD, I'm all over the place, but AD, Juliet, hopefully that helps you guys out. And yeah, happy to help in whatever way I can. So if you do get into Google Sites, because Google Sites is still its own thing, as I understand, I don't think any of that's moving to Squarespace. Squarespace is just taking up the domain side. But if you already have your domains and you want to set up Google Sites and you're all good to go, if you need any help setting this stuff up, I'm more than happy to try and help you guys out. So it's just what I do. I've always been the kind of person I research obsessively, and I always want to do that. I've been in IT. I've always been in IT, and I kind of ran into this issue where people in IT like hoard knowledge. Like they're afraid that if you know what they know, that they'll lose their job or something like that. And it really annoyed me when I started my career. So it's a bleed over from career into personal life. Anytime I gain knowledge, I want to share it as much as I can. There's no competition here. If you succeed and I don't, I'm happy for you. I'll figure it out myself. And if I succeed, I'd like to help lift up as many people as I can with me. That's kind of how I want to do it. So again, if you need any help at all with Google Sites when you dive into it, hit me up. Maybe we can get on like a phone call or something like that, or like a chat live like this, so anybody else that's interested can jump into it. More than happy to help. But anyways, yeah, let's close that out right here. Yep, Google Sites is a publishable front end. It does everything for you. All you need to do is connect your domain to it. It was a bit of a process for me, and to be completely honest, I think having bought my domain on Google made it a little bit easier. But there still was a bit of a process kind of setting up your domain. And there's other features as well. If you buy the domain on Google, I'm sure if you bought your domain somewhere else, you probably have some more options. Google would have allowed me to set up like me@atlascreedauthor.com type email, but yeah. Yeah, I looked at GoDaddy. I thought about doing that until, I wanted to shop around, see if I could find some stuff that's a little bit, basically I just wanted to compare my options, and for me, Google Domains just seemed like it had, the easiest integration. Oh yeah, that makes it better. If they had a deal, more power to you, 100%. Yeah, I had bought a domain a long time ago for my band, off GoDaddy. Of course, I've let that subscription expire. I no longer have that site anymore. But I do remember GoDaddy, and it's probably just because I had limited knowledge back then and no desire to research or do anything. It was complicated for me, so I wanted to look into different options. So I just landed on Google Domains. Now, of course, they're merging over to Squarespace, which I don't know how that's going to go, but I have pitched it out to a few people here on TikTok, and they're kind of going through that process right now. So hopefully it works out for them. But yeah. Yeah, see, if you're familiar with it already, absolutely. I'll toss out tools, things that work for me. But if you have something that works for you, more power to you. There are so many more things that I would like to learn. Adobe InDesign being one of them, Atticus being another, so I could kind of really just format my book on my own. But that's not something I'm planning on doing before releasing Armitage. I'll let that get formatted by somebody professional or somebody with a little bit more knowledge, and we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, as I said, I'm just kind of hanging out. I am technically working right now, so I took a little break from work, and I know you guys can't see my screen. I'm not gonna show all that stuff up there. But yeah, anybody that wants to ask any questions, fire away. I'm more than happy to talk anything, whatever. As I said, I'm just doing this as a test for anybody that's new here that's joined. I'm essentially testing TikTok's live studio. I just got access to it today, which is I've got a conspiracy. I made a video yesterday kind of trashing TikTok a little bit for being stingy about who they gave it to, saying that I needed 10,000 followers to get it. Woke up this morning to a notification saying, hey, you've got access now to TikTok Live Studio. So, oh, see you, Jasmine. Yeah, I'll see you tonight. I'm very excited for it. I've already read through your chapter. I can't wait. I'm very excited. But yeah, I kind of made a video yesterday trashing TikTok a little bit, and I woke up this morning saying that I had access to TikTok Live Studio. So I'm using an application called OBS, and I've already set up streaming to YouTube Live on this. I'm taking the entire output, so everything I'm controlling is through OBS. Everything I'm controlling is through OBS, and I'm just funneling that output over to TikTok's Live Studio. So I've got two streams going on, TikTok Live, and I'm on YouTube Live. I heard that there's some complications with like Twitch and TikTok, so I disabled my Twitch live stream. But I think it's only for affiliated users, and I'm absolutely not affiliated with Twitch. So I'm going to do a little bit more research on that before tonight, and we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, so this is really just a test for me to get used to the features, make sure that my microphone is coming through okay. I know you can't see that because of that, but yeah, here's my studio mic right there. I'm trying to keep it out of the image, yet still accessible to hear my angelic voice, if you will. But yeah, I did a little live yesterday on YouTube and Twitch together to test that out, where I was preparing notes for an audiobook narrator that I reached out to. You can also open chat boxes. Jess, have you used TikTok Live Studio? I know I've got the live chat on the side here. Allow comments, gifs. I haven't really done any of that. Ooh, I can block accounts. That'll work. Oh, I said, have you used TikTok Live Studio? Because I'm not familiar with it. That's kind of what I'm tinkering with right now. And I don't know if I can invite people up here. I know that I switched it. Okay. So how would you go about like inviting somebody up here, out of curiosity? I wonder if I can click on your name. If I accidentally invite you, you don't feel like you need to accept it. I'm just clicking on names right now to see if I can like add as a moderator, click to join. See, it won't let me click the multi-guest. The multi-guest is grayed out right now. I can reply to you and apparently unfollow you. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, but for some reason, no matter who I click on, I can't click multi-guest. So let me just see what multi-guest options I have. I have allow requests from viewers. I could do allow requests from followers only. That would probably be better. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I see that now. I can invite. I got no guest requests, but I've got multi guest up here now. I actually have to start it. Okay, I got you. So now I could invite some people up, and I actually have to open up multi guest. I wonder if I can dock it somewhere in here, or if it's just going to be an annoying floating window. It's just going to be an annoying floating window, I guess, because it's probably going to show like. So I imagine. Go to live gaming. Sorry, I'm catching up with chat right now. First open live, you want to go to live gaming. That will give you options to invite people in box chats. Okay. Yeah, so you can invite. Yeah, so if I open up the multi guest, I can invite people now. Oh, can you see like the little boxes off to the side? That's kind of cool. So that'll be interesting for TikTok only because I know that nobody on OBS will actually hear anything that's happening on TikTok. So that'll be a TikTok exclusive. But I like this because I can still just do TikTok live. I'm only really doing YouTube live to save the videos and be able to embed them in that. Okay. Do you mind, Jess? I won't accept, so that way you don't have to talk. But do you mind just requesting? Oh, yeah, perfect. That's awesome. I'm gonna decline that though, so that way you don't feel like you have to talk. Thank you for that. That was a nice little test. So that'll be really nice for some of these future things because after some of these readings, I know it's limited time, but if an author wants to jump up and talk for like 5 minutes about their book, I'm thinking about doing that, but we'll see how that goes. Right now, I figured it's just good enough to just kind of read a book, promote the author, put it up on my website, give people a location to do, and of course now that I'm on TikTok Live Studio, which is nice, it gives me, as you saw, a little bit of control. I can just show my website up there. The only thing I wish that TikTok had, and maybe they do it, and I just haven't figured it out, is to add a clickable link to the screen. But, I mean, worst case scenario, they just click on my profile. I got the link embedded in my profile. They can just follow it from there. So, oh yeah, not yet. Yeah, I like this because, like, the text that I have at the top. Now, the logo was built in with Photoshop. I tried doing my own little logo down here, but I couldn't make it a little bit more transparent. We'll see which one I like better. Same with the text at the top. Text is just all done in OBS, and I'm just funneling it all there. AD. So it's not super difficult. I know you have to have 1,000 followers. I can't remember if you do or don't. I think you have more than 1,000 followers. I'm hopping on TikTok while I'm on TikTok right here to go check. Yeah, okay. 80. Yeah, so you've got 500 followers. So once you get to 1,000 followers, I wonder if this will show TikTok to TikTok. A little bit trippy. But once you do that, I don't know if you can see. No. They add like a little website thing if you go to edit profile. So on your profile page, if you go to edit profile, they have a little button off to the side here for website. I don't know if it'll show if I show it kind of like sideways, but there's a button right there for website. Let me make my webcam just massive real quick. I don't know if that helps, but you can kind of see that I've got a website button right there, and I just click on it and I can add my link in here. I just have to type that in. So once you get, yeah, once you get the 1,000 followers, it happens pretty immediately. I didn't check it until I was at like 1,012 followers or something like that. I can't remember. I know I was really excited for it, but I was a little over 1,000 followers when I went up there. So it happens pretty quickly. Definitely check it once you hit 1,000 followers. I'll add your website. You can do Linktree, YouTube, whatever the heck you want to do. I recommend something like Linktree if you don't already have a website set up, but if you got a website set up, I mean, I put all of my social media in here. I don't want to get that window capture. Display capture, that should be the top. Yeah, I'll just drag this over here. So yeah, you can see on mine, I kept mine as a footer at the bottom of all mine. I've got all my social media, got my Goodreads, my YouTube Live, Twitch. I just put everything here. And it's just so much easier to send people to a website to be like, yeah, hey, just go check everything there. Linktree is a good alternative to that if you don't already have that. Okay, hold on. Catch up on the chat here. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. It's just I've got like a massive 34-inch monitor. I wonder if I could do like a display capture of this just gigantic monitor. Let's see. Boom, and just show you kind of like this trippy image of what I'm looking at. It's going to be tiny as hell, so I apologize about that. But yeah, this is almost all of my monitor. There you go. That's all of my monitor right there. So you can see I've got my TikTok Live over here. I've got my OBS where it's sending everything to over here. It's just a massive monitor. So I'm looking down at the chat. It's little tiny, like right over here. So I apologize if I miss anything. Remove that and then I'll go back to this chat. Okay. Photoshop. Yeah, I use Photoshop a ton. GIMP was really nice. Upgrading to Photoshop was definitely a better option. Yeah, AD don't have. When you say they can't do video stuff, I'm assuming you mean like TikTok Live or OBS or something like that. When you do videos, you can put sticker on link bio. So if you're talking about TikTok Live, that's why I like OBS, is that as you've seen, I can just do an image capture. I mean, I could put up my Google Chrome window with, like music playing, and I can switch it over to a video. So I've got music playing right now. It's in the background. Let me do quick window capture here. I don't know if that's... Nope, that's Armitage, and I don't need that one. We'll remove that. Now it's just a matter of not losing track of where the hell everything is. Yeah, OBS is super simple. Hey, what's up? How you doing, KR Soul? Is it Kirsten, right? I think. I usually like to call people by their first names, but not everybody I know by their first names. I know you because you sent me an email. Yeah, I'm doing a quick test. As you can see, I finally got TikTok Live Studio access. So for the reading tonight, I get a little bit better quality. Aaron, all right, perfect. Aaron, nice to know that. I like to know people's first names if I can, so I appreciate it. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm just doing a test live to hope for the reading tonight it'll give me all that stuff. But let me get back here to what I was showing you. So if like you wanted to show a video, I could go up here and you can see I've got like my little video playing from the song I'm listening to. So I know it's probably a little loud in the background, and again, I don't want TikTok to ban me for doing anything like that. But so that is a benefit to OBS, is it allows me to just I have this virtual camera on here, and I set up the virtual camera so that everything I have filtering through OBS it acts as an output. And I started as a virtual camera, and then within TikTok, I just choose my camera source for my webcam as OBS. So as long as I have that virtual webcam started before I open TikTok Live Studio, it displays everything, and I can just control it here like a little hub. So it's nice. Hopefully that helps you. I'm not super tech savvy. I just tinker with shit way too much. Well, cursing again. I don't know how TikTok feels about that, but yeah, it's all just and technically I've been playing with OBS for like 3 weeks now, because I wanted to do this for the last reading, for the first reading that I did. So I'm gonna have to go back and make a YouTube video rereading through the 2 books I did last week, so that way I can embed that video onto the website, give them just as fair a shot as I'm giving Jasmine and Kirsten tonight. So that's the goal. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, and the nice thing right now is, like I said, I am working and I'm still checking my team chat and all that stuff in the background. But I'm just waiting on things to run right now. So I figured TikTok Live is a good way to go, and there's like 100 million fires that other people are working on putting out, and I'm just kind of stuck waiting for them. So yeah, here I am just killing time on TikTok Live and just working. But I figured since I am doing TikTok Live, put my little promo banner up beneath me, and this will be a nice little thing. And then when it comes down to it tonight, I don't like reading and showing my face, so I will just disappear. Just make it even better. I hate waiting. I'm such an impatient person. Yeah, me too. I I sent my edits off at the beginning of September, and she told me it would take 2 months. So September to the end of this month, October, I'll be getting my stuff back. And again, practicing for this, I plan to do a live review session where I get to show everybody how horrible I did in writing and all of the little red lines and red marks that my editor gives me. I'll obviously be reviewing it at first to make sure that I'm not, giving away any spoilers or anything like that, and I'm giving sections that are meaningful and impactful. But the goal is for any author who hasn't gone through the editing process, it will be what your edits come back looking like. I'll be giving an explanation of what the process kind of looked like, what they can expect to see, so on and so forth. And hopefully that helps people too. But that's kind of my goal, and we'll see how things go. I don't even know if it'll be interesting. It'll be pretty boring, just me kind of like zoning out, looking at the Word documents. Maybe I'll cuss a couple times. What the fuck do you mean? Who knows? So far, though, she has sent me updates, and the updates have been pretty promising. So I appreciate that. She has called me out on some of the things that I do frequently, and there are things that I know I do frequently, but I kind of hopped around my book. I didn't read the entire book in full like I should have before sending it to the editor, just because I'm impatient. I was like, okay, I'm going to take 3 weeks away from my book, and then I'm going to sit down and read the whole thing, back to front, front to back to front. Who knows? And then I'll send it to the editor. I didn't. I went to like the scenes that I thought were the most important. I read chapter 1, 2, 3, and then I was like, yeah, okay, hold on. Well, what about this chapter, or where this happens, or this chapter? And then I like devoted a whole bunch of time and attention to like, key points within it, and made them very poetic, if you will, and whatnot. And I'll have to do better. Giving myself an actual release deadline, I think that's far enough away, especially, will hopefully kind of like temper my energy, because otherwise I would publish it the second I thought I was done with edits. Beta readers, yeah. So where are you finding your beta readers from, Aaron? I know I went on a few Facebook groups and found some, and most of the people I found didn't seem to match, like, stylistically or, genre-wise and whatnot. But yeah, I did what I could. I kind of took the beta reading advice that I thought was beneficial, like that fit my style. But I have mentioned I made a video on this critique circle. And you know what? I think I will. I'll show you guys real quick if you're okay with it. I'll go back and grab my Google capture. And I will show you guys. I'm going to drag this down here though. I'll make this big enough so you guys can hopefully see. And I will drag my critique circle up here. Oh no, I don't have critique circle up here. I'll just go to it. Book related critique circle. And everybody can just watch how these people tore shit apart. Sign in with Google. Yep. Okay, yeah, so here's critique circle. I'm on it. I'm clearly at the end of the book, so I am not going to show you guys this. I'm currently in the middle of some critiques right now. And then you can see this little handshake here means that they've critiqued me. I owe them a critique. It's called a tit for tat. It'll tell you how many words of critique you've given. It shows you your grade of critique from other people. You can kind of rate people. So if I go to like this critique here, I rated it 5 stars. I do have a reply queued up because they had something in here and I wanted to reply to it. I just haven't sent it yet. But so this is called Critique Circle, and there's another one that's similar called Scribophile. I'm kind of investigating that right now, but when we're talking about beta readers, this is kind of this. You upload. I do chapter by chapter, or if the word count's low enough, it'll give you the word count. Like, I mean, I usually try to stay under 5,000 words, and it'll show you the critiques that you get. But since I know that I've got, or I don't know if she's still in here, but I had a beta reader in here. I've got my archive stories, and the little ghost means I've hidden the story so that nobody can see it but me. So I went through all of Armitage, starting back in June when I had initially finished the book. I got impatient. I submitted to the editor here on September 6th before I got all the beta reader feedback. But yeah, it's author to author critiques. Not everybody in here is an author. It is completely free. However, you can pay for a subscription base. So when you critique, so you'll see this one has coins. It means they give you 1 extra credit. So I'm not going to try and show their work, but it'll show you based on your word count how many coins you've earned. And with those coins, it shows you your bank right down here. I have 8.5 coins. And when you go to submit a story, it'll tell you what the cost is. So if it's your first story, like if you don't have any other stories queued up, the cost is only 3 coins. So you critique 3 people, because typically you get 1 coin per critique. Some people will offer you more coins per critique, but you need 3 coins. So for every 3 critiques, you get 1 submission, is essentially how that works. You can choose your genre. You paste in your information. Hey, is this a standalone? If you want to do a novel, you have to have a premium membership. It's $18 a month. I did that. Like, I do it on a month-by-month basis. So you can actually do 1 month of it, set up your entire novel, and then never renew your subscription. It also makes it a little bit cheaper. So like if you want to pay for your premium subscription, you can submit a story for 1 coin. But if you already have 1 queued up, it gets up there. If like me, I had like 3, like the most it would cost me is 15 coins to like set up in advance. So as you can see, I've already got 1 chapter set up for next week. But I usually, I just loaded my chapters up for every 9 coins that I had, which was the most that it restricts you to when you have a premium. So you can get as many queued up as you want, and it will always cost you 9 coins if you're in the premium subscription. As you can see, I've got that, but it's about to expire. So, and I don't need it anymore because I've submitted my final chapter for review. And in there, just to give you a little bit, I'll go back to one of these stories. You kind of get a before and after. So I'll go to chapter 2 and 3 when I started realizing that I wasn't going to be finishing this quick enough. you set up basically like an info before the story. Hey, you know, I'm giving you a content advisory. This is a chapter from the genre thriller, which I later changed to an urban fantasy. So it was an urban fantasy, and then I changed the subgenre to thriller. I just kind of switched it around. And you get like, you know, I put this in after the fact. Hey, I edited this based on some of the critique I got, so some of the critiques may not line up. But yeah, I give you context for chapter 2, blah, blah, blah. And I just say, hey, here's what happened in the last couple chapters. That's what you get. Let's see if I can view it in a little bit better. Yeah, so you can see, here's how it will look to the reader. They'll come in here. Hey, you get your content advisory. Here's the context for chapter 2. Here's what happened previously. Here's the context for chapter 3 you're about to read. And then at the end of it all, you can ask your questions. Hey, what did you think? What, you know, advice would you have specifically? But what I like about this, since this is chapter 2 and 3, it's not really spoiling anything. This guy right here kind of became a friend. You can email them back and forth. So I'll show his critique. You know, you get your opening comments, and then they give you inline comments. They'll say, hey, like, you know, here's the line I'm talking about. You know, here's my critique on that, you know, and we kind of talk back in there. And like maybe they'll give you like positive feedback or something like that. And then at the end, of course, you know, he didn't answer my question. Hey, I said a lot. And truthfully, he did answer a lot of my questions in line. So yeah, JC Cerrone, he is another author. He's the one that the critique I just showed, and I critiqued his book, Death of the Ice Angel. I can even go back in here and I can view my recent critiques as well. So if I go to his, I see that he archived the rest of his, but I can go to my profile and I can go back and look over critiques that I've given. So yeah, if I go back to critiques, I can see my whole history of critiques, who it was that I critiqued, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's the beginning of time, basically. So yeah, Death of the Ice Angel, I can go back and I can look at my specific critique to his work. It'll even tell me what the word count is of my critique, how long it took me to critique it, to read through and critique it. And yeah, as you can see, I've critiqued quite a few people. And I'm more than happy if you guys join up and you want me to critique some of your work, I'm more than happy to do so as well. I really like this. So doing this chapter at a time is what most people do, you know, and usually they'll tell you, you know, this tells you the word count here, but I wonder if I can go, I guess I can't see it, like, you know, but you'll see that when you go up to here to do the critique, it'll tell you initially how many words it is. So like if I want to dive into this, 3,700 words would be a hefty read. Fern's Grotto, chapter 7, I might jump into that because that's 1,500 words, you know? So for any authors that are on a budget, this is a completely free tool. You do not have to sign up for the premium subscription. It just gives you some added bonuses. And if you're not into the critique, they do have a forum. They have an entire forum here. So I can go to the forums and I can just discuss with people. It's you know, not quite Reddit based. It's more like old school forums, like you've got your threads, you've got your topics, and you can jump in and add comments to it, stuff like that. They've got their categories in here if you just want to do that, you know, genres, announcements, so on and so forth. And then they've got their recent posts. So, you know, if I wanted to kind of see what some of this stuff was about, you've got your posts, you've got the replies to the posts. So if critiquing is not something you want to do, you don't have to. You can join the forums. You don't have to submit your work at all. You can just critique if that's something you want to do. And yeah, you could do short stories. There's one person I used to critique that just posted short stories. Every week was a different short story that he had in mind, and he was just taking the feedback from that. Like he would write the short story within the week, and then he would take the feedback from that to help improve the next short story. And he would use it to like attack different genres and try different tactics out. He's like, you know, and he would give that all in the context. Hey, this week I'm attempting these things. Let me know what works. Let me know what doesn't. I haven't found any content restrictions. They just, you know, it's kind of like an honor system. They just hope that you'll put the content advisory on there, and you can restrict it. Hey, nobody under 18, you know, should be able to read this. So if I go back to the submit a story, if I go to my options, you can donate your extra credit. You can also say, hey, only people that have, you know, a good history of critiquing can do this. You know, add your content warning there too. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the system that they have it on. And then you would review what you're doing. But of course, you know, I didn't do anything. So as far as beta readers go, this one I really like. Granted, every now and then you'll get somebody that doesn't, you know, you know, match stylistically, I guess, or they kind of inject, instead of critiquing your work as it is and trying to maintain your voice, they'll inject like, oh, a preferential style. And, you know, so you kind of got to weed through that a little bit, but I highly recommend it. God, that's so many words. Yeah, Aaron, if you join this and you upload anything to critique, let me know. I'll go find it. Send me the link to that, and I'm more than happy to help if that's something that you do want. But yeah, again, if you just want to join it, it's free. It acts as kind of like an alpha/beta reader type system, and yeah, and yeah, again, if you're not ready to write a novel yet, maybe you're not sure how your work will be perceived, this is a good way to toss that out. Write up a short story. It could just be specific for this. It stays up for 1 week. So like mine is in review, and it does it every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Your old story goes down, your new story goes up. And then it goes until the next Tuesday at 7:59 p.m. So it stays up for a week, and then it drops away. And then from there, like I said, you can go to your stories. Chapter 28, I don't want people to see anymore, so I can just come in here and just hide the story. And this just means that other readers can't see it. And if I go back into here, refresh, chapter 28 now has this little ghost next to it. All of these chapters have been hidden. Nobody can go back to my profile and see any of this stuff. So it is a nice way to kind of get some beta readers, alpha readers. I mean, I've got a message inbox. You know, like after you critique somebody's stuff, they can message you and kind of give some feedback. So I'll show you kind of like what I'm talking about. Yeah, like so. Now that one was kind of more of a conversation. Let's see. Yeah, I hit up JC about me doing a live reading on here. We'll see how that goes. So like this one, I was kind of in a rush, so I didn't really give too much of a feedback, but let's see. Yeah, so like he had his comments, and you know, like he had other comments around it. I just didn't copy the whole thing. I usually kind of shorthand it. But yeah, like he shows no proclivities towards the paranormal, and I kind of give my comments back, and he can respond to me and be like, okay, that makes sense, or hey, here's a better way to do this now with that context that you have, or now that I know your thought process. And it gives you a chance to kind of communicate and build a little sense of community, which I really like. And there are some authors, and if you really like authors and want to be notified about their stuff, you can go in and make them a favorite. I mean, I've got you know, Autumn Leaf, Claire P, and Jay. I'm still building my authors, but these are people that if they post something, I want to be notified about it so that I can go in there and critique it. So but yeah, hopefully this is a tool that you guys find useful. And I mean, no harm in signing up. Even if you just want to sign up and not submit any of your work, just kind of see how it works, by all means. I highly recommend it. Your third book has been in the pipeline since 2007. So, Aaron, have you published books yet? Since you say your third book, or are you just kind of writing through like stories, or they, you know, is your book a collection of short stories or something like that? But yeah, hopefully you guys, I'll get rid of this window now. Don't need it. But hopefully some of you guys hop on to Critique Circle. I hope to see some of you guys there because it is a super useful tool. Okay. First two books are poetry books. Third is a collection of short stories. Okay, that's awesome. I know you're on the top secret project as well for Indie Bookshelf. They are on Amazon. Okay. I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna see if I can find some of your poetry books. I'm particular about poetry, if you will. Um, there are some that I've found incredibly moving, and then some styles that I just haven't had. So I don't want to set up the expectation that I'm just gonna like fall in love with poetry. There's very few poets that I actually like the style of and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm no poet. I've tried my hand at poetry and it doesn't go so well. So um, I think I wrote 3 haikus for my book that I thought about putting in there, and I ended up never doing it just because it was not good. Let me see if I can pull them up. Yeah, okay. I don't know how visible that would be on here. Let me make my webcam stretch it out again. So this is a set of 3 haikus that I made. I know you can't read it, so I'll read it to you, but it's just called Growing. I thought about putting it in my book and seeing how that goes, but 3 different haikus from my main character. It was, to the person I was, I'm sorry for what I did. Please forgive me. Second haiku, to the person that I am, I'm trying my best. Please be patient. And for the third haiku, to the person I could have been, it's not your fault. I realize that now. So, those 3 haikus I wrote for my book that won't end up ever going anywhere because I don't think I'll ever put them in. And that's my shoddy hand at poetry. I like them for the message, but I don't think that from like a technical standpoint they're anything to write home about. From the mind of and a mind full of words. I'm assuming from the mind of is kind of in relation to the author title, from the mind of AD Small kind of thing. I'll go check those out. I'm going to go look for them right now. Mindful of words. Dude, so do I. Oh wait, so you got told which title was pretentious? The from the mind of AD Small. Well, I know we're on TikTok, but fuck them. It's all entirely everybody's got a style, and not everybody's gonna like that style. I don't mind it. I don't think that that's bad. I think it's kind of creative. Um, there's a band I used to listen to called Norther, Norther, and their first album was titled N, so it made their name Northern. I don't think they ever came up with an album after that. I thought it was funny. I was like, that's kind of creative. So their band name was technically Northern, but their first album was Norther with the album title and a big N right off to the side. I was like, that, so you see the band Northern, but they released their first album as Norther with album title N. A lot of people thought it was stupid, but again, who cares? I like it. I like this. I'm looking at a mind full of words right now, and I'm gonna see if I can read a sample. Yeah, I'm gonna load this sample up so that I can read it a little bit later and check out some of your poems. So if you don't mind, I'll dig into it. I'm not gonna do it right now, right here, but I've got it pulled up off to the side here with the reading sample, and I'll take a look at it. If I like it, I'll pick it up. Always happy to support. But again, I don't want to give any kind of illusion that I may fall into it, but I still do want to kind of give you some of that support. OCD is getting the best of me. I'm going to leave that alone. All right, Kirsten, yeah, see you later. I'm going to probably be hopping off here soon. This was a nice test, and I really appreciate the people that hopped in. Jess, you gave me a lot of good advice on how to use TikTok Studio Live, so I really appreciate that. And I mean, if nothing else, I'm not going just yet, but it's been fun kind of just shooting the breeze here with some of the other authors in the community. Oh yeah, Jess, you commented, and I meant to respond to that. I started writing on a whim, but haven't stopped. I need all the help I can get. I don't think I'm a good writer at all. I mean, even on the times where I'm like, oh, what I've written is pretty good, I still don't think I'm a good writer. I need all the help that I can get, probably mentally. Who knows? But yeah, it is fun. It's like its own little addiction. I can't stop writing. I have so many ideas for different stories, and I've got a bunch of ideas for stories. I mean, I've got one that's a romance comedy. That's a guy starts dating a girl, and he's unaware, but he has a split personality in his head that is a female that falls in love with the body she's in, the guy of the body she's in. And I thought that would be kind of funny, kind of like a me, myself, and Irene type thing, but instead of being two guys within the same body vying for the same girl's attention, it's a guy in the body who's got a girl that's aware of her split personality and falls in love with the guy that she's, the split personality of, and starts kind of like fighting off the other women that he's trying to date. I don't know how I would ever make that work in a good way, other than just a kind of funny idea. But I've also got a book idea of writing. I was watching. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Smile, so I don't want to give any spoilers away. I was watching Smile, and if you haven't seen it, I don't know, plug your ears, or if you don't care about spoilers. But most horror movies have that dumb logic where, like, the movie would not have gone as far as it did if they had any level of intelligence at all. But this was going to be a horror comedy. And I was watching Smile, and right at the end, this woman's like, "Oh, okay." She does the first logical thing. She's like, "I'm gonna go and take this entity that's in my head. That's basically the way it transferred from person to person is the body that it's in, it would make it itself in front of somebody else, and then the person who witnessed it would now inhabit. The entity would transfer to that person's body, and then it would cycle repeat. It would go find somewhere to that person in front of somebody else, and it would just bounce body to body. Well, so this woman decides, I'm going to go to this isolated cabin that my family used to own, and I'm just going to let it take care of me there. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to do anything. And at the end, her friend, who's a cop, is like, "Oh, I'm going to go save her. Oh, I'm the hero." And he shows up at the cabin right as this girl's doused herself in gasoline, and she just like looks at him smiling, lights a match, and just holds the match like for 5 minutes. And this guy is 3 feet away, and I'm sitting here watching the movie going, just blow out the match, man. Just, and he's just sitting there, "Oh my God." I'm like, "You're a terrible police officer if like you're in this kind of moment of, she needs your help, and you just lock up and panic, and it's just really bad." Again, sorry for the spoilers, but I was watching that. I was like, could you imagine like this story told from the entity's perspective? Just standing there, it's like, wow, I can't believe he hasn't blown out the match. What an idiot. Tosses the match down, lights the girl on fire. And I was like, well, what if I told this from an entity that just has that bad luck, where the people they go after do have logic and common sense and just thwart their entire plan. So like they're kind of like a puzzle maker, like they're like a Final Destination type thing. It's like, okay, I'm setting up all these traps. They're just gonna hit all these traps, and I'm gonna get them. And the people just deploy some logic and go off in a totally different direction. He's like, "Hey, where are you going? What are you doing?" So I thought that would be kind of fun to do, and then you could even tie in like, oh yeah, like Jason or Michael or Freddy. It's like, oh, all these guys are super lucky. You could even tie in the Final Destination entity. Oh, Death is so special with his traps and whatnot. Just kind of have almost like a Wreck-It Ralph. You get like the evil villain, therapy session where he just feels like he can't really do it. I thought that would be kind of a fun horror comedy, but I don't know if I'll ever get to it or ever write it. Maybe I'll just make it a short story. Who knows? But yeah, I'm sticking myself right now to just the Armitage series, so I don't get sidetracked. I wrote the story for the top secret book project that we got going on. that's going to come out as part of an anthology from the My Indie Bookshelf guys, and I'm really excited for that one. I know Aaron's in on that as well. There are quite a few other people in on it, so I'm excited for that. But those are really the only two published things I got. You know, whenever that publishes, and then whenever I get Armitage published, that's where it's going. And if it becomes a competition, maybe they'll publish the anthology first, and Century will technically be my first published story. But we'll see how it goes. So fingers crossed that Armitage becomes that one. But yeah. I saw that, Aaron. That is awesome. 4,000 words is a massive accomplishment, and I'm really excited to read your story. And again, if um, toss it up on the My Indie Bookshelf, and you know, when you're done, let people beta read it. I'd be more than happy to beta read it and kind of see how it goes. I tossed mine up there for a beta read. I think one person read it. I think maybe Polly read it. Um, and her feedback was just like, it's good. I was like, okay, thank you. So I thought about, since Armitage is finishing, I might toss it up on Critique Circle to see if anybody will critique that short story, since it's relatively small. It's not an overly long story, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I wasn't going to stay on here too much longer, so it was put up there a little while ago, but they pinned it. So if you go to I've been trying to keep up with the admins. Anytime I see somebody post, if you go up, if you're on mobile, you have to like swipe right, and then it brings up a separate menu. You'll see like a little pin button. But I see Lacey Chantel has a pinned story, The Lady in White. My Indie Bookshelf put up their prologue. Alexia put up Checkout. TL Combs has her story up there, and then mine's kind of, you got to scroll down through the pins. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to read mine just yet. I mean, I know you got your focus on that one. I put mine in Google Docs. Let me see if I can do a word count. I don't use Google Docs all that often, but I know they have a word count. There we go. Yeah, mine's 3,046 words. So it's relatively short story. So I might put that up on Critique Circle, see if anybody will critique it. And maybe I'll get some feedback on how to fix it. I did take it through auto crit, which I'm kind of hesitant to use, but I just wanted a quick point out of if I had too much word repetition, or you know, if there were adverbs I could use, like they'll give you like better choice of words kind of thing. So I ran it through that, and that's really the only editing that's had. And I thought about reaching out to one of my friends who's trying to get into the editing field, and just have them edit it, you know, and just pay them whatever their rate would be, because 3,000 words I don't think would cost too much, but it would also be a way to help out my friend who's trying to get into editing, and you know, see what they do with it, and maybe help me improve it for this release. But yeah. Am I missing something? Just when you say first published, am I self-published already? I'm wondering if that question's towards me. Um, but what I was talking about was the anthology. So in one of the Discord servers that I have, there's a guy, Christian Francis, tongue-tied today, who's on TikTok, and he runs a site called My Indie Bookshelf, which is basically like Goodreads for just indie books. I put my book up there. Basically, you know, it's solely dedicated to indie publishers or indie authors. You could put your book up there, blurb, links to buy your stuff. And he's got a Discord server for the same thing. And I think on the website for myindiebookshelf.com, you've got that the Discord server invite link on there, which is how I got it. And well, he did a little while ago. He was looking for 24 authors to kind of be a part of an anthology, and you know, fortunately, somebody had tossed my name out there for that, and I was happy to accept. And, we went through like a whole thing trying to just, determine a theme and how it would all go. And we finally settled on one. So we started writing up a story. So I wrote up my story. But what I was saying is that if all the authors get in their work, all 24 authors get in their work, Christian is he already wrote his prologue, and then he's going to write an epilogue at the end that kind of like sandwiches the stories all together to describe how they're bound and how they all connect and what the premise is. I'm saying if everybody gets that in and it all gets edited and formatted before Armitage releases in June of next year, then Century would technically be my first published book. But even that's not entirely true. So as I made a video the other day, Atlas Creed is a pen name. One of the reasons, it was actually my wife's decision, hey, you should use a pen name. But one of the major reasons why I decided to use a pen name was because under my real name, I do write children's books. And I thought it'd be a little weird to have children's books out there, and then, hey, here's this book that has a SA trigger warning and graphic blood and violence in it. So I was like, okay, maybe a pen name is not such a bad idea. But I have traditionally published, or not traditionally published, I have self-published kids' books under my actual name. So technically I have been through the publishing process, and I have kind of done that. So that's where some of this experience is coming from, some of the videos that I post out for people. But I just don't want to be super public about that. Because, there is a reason I use the pen name to help separate that and kind of keep this life separately. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. I know it was a long rant for your question, but no, I've never been traditionally published. I have self-published before. I did query. I think it was like mid-July I started querying. I sent out about 40 query letters, and so far I've gotten 7 of them back. Just, hey, we're not interested, even though your idea might be engaging, or whatever other polite way that they've done to say, hey, no, thank you. Yeah, I didn't imagine that I was going to hear from any of them back. I mean, we're at the end of October now, and out of the 40, I've received 7 back. So I'm taking the remaining 33 as just not interested. And so self-publishing was always kind of a backup option. So even while I was querying, I was researching everything I could for self-publishing, kind of setting up like mock-up publications on Ingram Spark to see what it is, doing research on keywords to use, metadata input. Originally, I was just going to do Ingram Spark, but then I realized, I was talking to people and realized you can do KDP and Ingram Spark in tandem. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to publish to KDP first. That'll be ebook and print. And that'll give me a little bit more royalties if it goes through Amazon. But I am still going to do Ingram Spark because I want that wider distribution. And I am going to give that recommended 55% wholesale retailers discount that they want, where they can make more money off my book than I'm making, because I'm giving them an over half price discount, which is, anyways. Yeah, the query letters, I did it because it was a process I wanted to get familiar with, and I did my research and I used the tools to help work up some query letters. But everybody, as I found, every agency had some variation in requirement. So like some would be like, I want a 3-paragraph synopsis, or somebody would like, give me just a log line and your first 3 chapters, or maybe your first 10 pages, something like that, right? Well, the first few pages of my book, I don't think, as much as it pains me to admit, it's not a major draw, because I planned for my book to be like a building story. So I feel it's almost not a good representation of my book to give the first couple chapters. But I get it. Like, if the first few chapters don't draw you in, then it's probably not going to draw a reader in either. So I get it from their perspective. But, at the same time, as I'm looking at what agencies will actually do for you, other than putting you up on a news, I mean, you still have to do your own marketing. I mean, they're going to go through Ingram Spark just like you can do. They might give you an advance, but, I mean, they're still going to take, you get no royalties until that advance is paid out. So I kind of wonder what the major benefit is. If you have the determination and you have a plan in mind and you're doing your research, I feel like you don't really need a traditional publisher. They're not really doing anything major from you. I mean, they do get you in the shelves, but they also can pull you from the shelves too. Whereas an indie publisher, you have complete control over that. Now, that's my point of view on it. So that's why I decided to go with the self-published or indie publisher route. Let's see how it goes. Bull butter. is that like a like one of those Orbit commercials? Frog and bullfish, you lint liquor. I appreciate that. I'm glad that the first few chapters pulled you in. I don't know how far into the book you are, but if you've at least made it to chapter 9, you've probably seen the shift where the opening chapters kind of, imply that maybe it's like a paranormal thing, or maybe it's all in her head. Maybe it's like a manifestation of a mental disorder. Like kind of metaphorical for depression or PTSD or some kind of trauma that affects you mentally. And then, as it plays out, maybe it's a paranormal thing. It's until you hit like chapter 9, where she gets pulled for the first time into the fantasy realm. That's when things start to kind of click, I think. And I wanted that build up. I wanted it to kind of like, I'm not quite sure what genre this is to start with. And in doing so, which is a completely stylistic choice on my end, in doing so, I feel like it does kind of, it adds these twists and turns in it, but it doesn't necessarily like, it's not going to hit the right reader base that I would want it to hit, I think, for an urban fantasy. But again, I'm sticking with it. I like how that twist happens. I like leading the reader on to think that maybe this is generally pretty real, especially because Nico, his entire story is crime mystery. So his point of view, which is about 40-ish% of the book, is entirely crime mystery. There's no fantasy element at all to his story. And then you get 3 chapters told from this killer's perspective, where there's some fantasy elements in there as well. And then Rebecca, she's where the urban fantasy comes in. She's living her little life in 2002. And it all gets flipped topsy-turvy. She's pulled into this whole new world. Everything gets a little, and she kind of like bounces back and forth between the two. So I liked the approach to that. As I said, I know that the first few chapters may not be as engaging if you're looking for a fantasy story, but I like the approach because it gives these twists and turns and these cliffhangers and stuff like that. And it's kind of what I was hoping for. So, but anyway, so when it comes to querying, I think that did me more of an injustice than anything else, because they asked for those. If they were to say, hey, give me some chapters in your book that you think are engaging, I probably would have done that, and maybe I would have had a better shot. But I was also kind of lazy. I had like, I did personalize it, but I had the same opening line. Hey, I really appreciate you taking the time and considering my book. It's a pleasure that you're whatever. That opening tagline was the same for every query agent, but then everything else underneath it was kind of custom catered to whatever they were asking for. So, queries are nice, and some people have that goal of being traditionally published. And I know if you're traditionally published and you sell a lot of books, it's a lot easier to get on some of the bestseller lists, New York Times especially. And I mean, it's not really a dream of mine, but I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't be exciting if I did get on New York Times bestseller list. That is kind of like what was that from Wolf of Wall Street? It's Fugazi, it's fairy dust. It doesn't exist. I don't think it'll ever happen, but dream big. Why not? But yeah, the agencies you're looking at are media companies. So could you dive into that a little bit? I don't think that I've ever really looked into that. Are they like they do a lot of marketing for you, try to get you out in as many outlets as possible? I didn't know media agencies actually took on authors or represented people. So that would be very interesting to learn about. Yes, by that point you're well connected to the characters. Oh, Aaron left. Oh, see you, Aaron. If you're still here. Yeah, by that point, I do hope that you're well connected to the characters, and that was one of the things, the beta reader. So chapter 2, which was Rebecca hanging out with her friends, That chapter never existed. I went to the beta readers on Critique Circle, and I was like, is this book seeming a little like, um, morbid? Like there's no excitement to it. They're like, yeah, I kind of want to see what Rebecca's life would look like, if it was normal. So that's what I tried to give. Chapter 2, 3 years later, after the whole events of the prologue, is kind of what her life would look like if it was normal. It kind of gives you that background. It also gave me a chance to build in some extra characters and whatnot and have a little fun with it. But yeah, other than that, same with chapter 1. Chapter 1 was originally chapter 5, and my beta readers were like, this would be better as a chapter 1. So that was good advice. I moved it, and I think it worked out really well, because having the prologue and then that kind of shows that maybe Rebecca's not entirely crazy. Yeah. They're a traditional publishing company, but also work with media, turning your book into TV. And they do help with marketing. That's good. There's not too many, and maybe that's because I haven't actually gone directly to traditional publishers. I was always told that when you query, you should query agents who will then get you in touch with traditional publishers, and maybe that's the wrong route. But I would like to talk about that a little bit more. Actually, send me a DM on that, because I'm about to hop off and get some lunch and get back to work. So send me a DM about that, and we'll talk, and maybe it'd be a good opportunity for us to do a live and have a discussion where we can bring some other people in who might be interested in the same thing, because that would be awesome. But anyways, I appreciate everybody who came in for what was initially a test and turned out to be a pretty interesting live. So I'll see you guys back here at 7:00 p.m. Where I'll be reading these 2 books down here. I did a test reading last night. I'm going to do another one today just to make sure I fumble as little as possible. And I will say that the excerpts that they gave me are excellent. I'm really excited to dive into this, so I hope that you guys are just as excited and enjoy the reading tonight. So have a good one, guys, and thanks for stopping by.